Good evening. This is Susan, and this is Susan's Ramblings. While I was off and enjoying myself, it didn't mean that I wasn't working. It meant that I was looking up, taking time for myself, but also doing research. So I came up with a bunch of hints that I don't know if I've given them to you before or if I haven't given them to you before, but I'm going to give them to you now, and there are several of them. And so rather than talking just about them, I will talk about them too. But I also decided to write them out because I don't know about you, but it helps me to remember things if I write it out and if I see it in writing. So I'm hoping that's the same thing with you. Now here's a bunch of hints. The first batch is going to deal with food and with meal preparation and saving money is what we're going to start about. Then we'll go on to first aid, and then we'll go on to hygiene. And in between there, I'll give you some recipes that I found. You know, we're saving grains, or we're supposed to be saving grains. One of the grains that we can use, wheat, and you have the cream of wheat cereal. Now, I don't know about you, but I was raised on cream of wheat, and I was raised on oatmeal. Malto meal came along when my children were small, and they loved the malto meal. But I was raised, like I said, I was raised on cream of wheat. And so I've got a lot of, I have in our senior boxes that come every month. We usually get not cream of wheat, but farina, and it's the same as cream of wheat. So I have been looking up recipes to make that, to use it besides the cereal that we've got. So I've got those recipes too to pass out. I've also got depression recipes that I've looked up, or World War I and II recipes when they were rationing the food. I had those recipes. And of course, I have my old recipes that I use all the time that I'll be interplacing, whatever you call it, into these notes. But anyway, to start out, we're going to go with hints. Some of these I've probably given you before, or I've mentioned them. Other ones are brand new to us, and they're brand new to me too, okay? So, first of all, use white wine vinegar to rinse your empty ketchup bottles. And then, we usually use water or something like that, but use the red wine vinegar. And then you add oil to it, and you know what? You have an almost free salad dressing. And you do the same thing with mustard, except you use apple cider vinegar. All right? Use hot coffee or tea to rinse out the Nutella recipes, or try hot milk, and you have a free chocolate drink. Cooking milk. You equal 1 can of evaporated milk plus 1 can of water. That's if we run out of milk. If you have evaporated milk, fine. If you have whole milk, powdered, dried milk, you can make evaporated milk. If you make evaporated milk, then you can make cooking milk or drinking milk, okay? Homemade salsa. Buy a tail of tomatoes and you blend it. Got all your spices in there and everything else. Simple, easy. And other tomatoes are, at this time, cheaper than the salsa. Dehydrate in your oven if you don't have a dehydrator. Put it at 250 degrees. Make sure your oven door stays open, because then the moisture is allowed to come out of it. And then you do it until they become dry, so they become basically brittle. Homemade soups. 1 bag of split peas, cooked, put your spices in, and put carrots. Very simple, very easy, very inexpensive soup. Okay, next one. 1/2 pound of white beans, cooked potatoes, in your dried milk. Kind of a potato soup. Use a rubber spatula to scoop out, oops, I got that wrong. Use rubber spatula to scoop out almost all your food from your jars and your cans. That's probably one of the best investments you can make in your kitchen, is a rubber spatula. And then you get all your food out of there. Yeah, that's a big thing. Make sure you don't waste your food by throwing it away, because you can't get it out of the jar or the can. Rinse and dry eggshells thoroughly. Use a food processor to grind eggshells into a fine powder. Store in an airtight container. 1/2 eggshell equals 1 daily allowance of calcium for an adult. And you can also put them on your garden, on your house plants. I'm growing cherry tomatoes in my kitchen, in my house, and I'm also growing herbs in my house. I live in an apartment. I really don't have space. I have the space, except it's on the north side, and the north side doesn't get much sun, so I'm very limited in what I can grow. So I have got cherry tomatoes that I'm growing inside my apartment. I have got several herbs that I'm growing inside my apartment. And to enrich the soil, I crush up the eggshells and I put them on the soil. And the nutrients will go into the soil then. Also, I have, since I help the children in art camps every summer, I will use my eggshells as a recycled project. And I'll show you some of them when we get closer to Christmas and so forth. More soup. 1/2 pound of white beans cooked. Add pasta, can of tomatoes, and your spices of your choice. Remember, these soups are all very, very simple to make, very inexpensive. And if you're afraid your body won't handle all the beans and the peas that are probably required that we will eat later on, do it once a week to get your body used to eating the beans and so forth, okay? Another soup. 1 large can of baked beans and add water to it. 1 medium onion chopped, a can of stewed tomatoes, and spices of your choice. Still another soup. 1 bag of lentils cooked in water or broth, bouillon cubes. Any vegetables available? No spices because the lentils are also spicy. Remember, you can also sprout lentils and use them in salads and use them in different recipes, and it will really help you. Okay? It says, now I don't know how many of you dehydrate. I do dehydrate. I dehydrate a lot. And it says make an assortment of dehydrated vegetables, your celery, carrots, onions, and so forth, peppers. Place in an airtight jar, and when you're making a soup or a stew, just grab a handful, a cupful, and add it to the soup. You've already got it all mixed up. It's all dried. It's all mixed up into a soup mixture, a vegetable mixture. So you all have to do is grab some and throw them in some water, and you've got a vegetable soup, okay? Another soup. Pinto beans and broth, less water or broth, tomatoes, corn, chili powder, or taco seasoning. Make it a taco soup, okay? Rather than just beans and just water, if you've got the broth available, make sure you use that. If nothing else, use bouillon cubes. But if you use bouillon cubes, make sure you don't add any more salt until you come to the end, because it might get very, very salty. All right, we'll have a little bit more. Another soup. Whoops, I guess it's not soup yet. Cook a bag of beans separately, and it's cook a bag of beans, period. And then you separate it into portions, and you freeze them. And then all you have to do is grab a bag full of beans, and you've got your beans already cooked. Or can your beans. Can your own beans. It's cheaper that way to buy the dried beans, and you just put them in a little bit of stock, put some onions in it or whatever spices you want in it, and you've got your seasoned beans. When making dumplings, Use water and milk instead of water. It makes a fluffier dumpling. But remember, you can always make dumplings with water too. Soup. Ramen noodles cooked in broth. Add your dumplings and cook, and add 1 egg. Add it at the end of the cooking, okay? Tomato soup. 1 can of tomato paste. 4 cans of water. The tomato paste of the water. To can of tomato paste plus 4 cans of water. Use your canned tomato paste can to give it water in there. Put a little bit of milk and a pinch of salt. You can add your hot sauce, onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, salt, pepper, pasta, rice, canned chicken, whatever you want to this soup, and make it your own. Soups are very, very inexpensive to make. That's why I have a lot of soups on here. During the Depression and during the war years, they had soup on the stove all the time, and they kept adding to it day after day. Another way to save is save all your liquids from your vegetables and put them in a container and freeze them. And when the container gets full, and put all your extra vegetables in there too. If you have 1 or 2 beans left over or 1 or 2 kernels of corn, once you put them all together and you keep doing it, it adds up in a hurry. And then you have a free pot of soup. You just add some tomato juice to it, V8 juice to it, or now they've got the chicken tomato bouillon that I use a lot. You add that to it, and you got soup. Okay, another soup is a can of chili without beans, and you just put cheese whiz in it. I don't know if you can find cheese whiz anymore. I know Walmart had it. I don't know if they've still got it. That's an old product that we don't see much of anymore. But I would think that you would be able to use a cheese sauce with that. And I believe one of those companies come up with a cheese sauce, with a packet of cheese sauce, and a cheese sauce in a packet, and I would think you'd be able to use that for it, or cream cheese. And I said a package of cheese sauce, water, and broth. Thin it out, okay? Another soup. 1 can of cream-style corn, diced potatoes, water with dried instant milk. I can't talk anymore. And spices of your choice, that kind of a corn chowder. Okay, that's all I've got for today. I hope these hints help you. My hand keeps getting in the way, doesn't it? Let me know if they help you. Let me know some of your favorite hints. Have a good day. God bless. Bye-bye.